I just got a message that it's going to be live streamed.
Yes. All right. I think we are. I think we're live. So hello.
We're live, I think.
Yeah, we are. Yay.
Check.
All right.
Yeah, we're live.
Here we are. So a couple things.
Yep.
Okay, so we see the chat.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Sometimes I get thrown off when we go live. Like I can't see what's going on. So
it's all good.
Great.
We're good.
Let's go. Okay.
All right. So thank you so much, Carolina, for
No worries. I'm just checking. I didn't get any notification that we are live.
Okay.
I'm not sure if anyone knows.
Okay.
One technical thing.
Ryan Cohen is live right now. I got a notification.
Oh.
So.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I didn't. That's weird. Anyway, if they got it,
right.
that's fine.
So thank you so much for joining us, Carolina.
Yeah.
How are you doing? Like, tell us a little bit about yourself and like intro yourself and everything like that.
I'm doing well, relatively well.
Yeah.
Given all the circumstances that are happening.
Yes.
But we are talking about art and creativity today, so let's not focus on anything else. I'm a fine art photographer and an artist. It depends if you want the long answer or the short one, because the short one would be I'm a multidisciplinary artist working mainly with photography and fine art. The long one is I do everything. Yeah. And then we can just go on. But I just inspire people and teach people how to be creative and how to do awesome things.
Yes.
So a little bit. I mean, Caroline, you're being a little bit like humble.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, but you know, we met you. I might have been this time last year.
Yeah.
I think it was. And you know, Lindsey and I were part of like an amazing mastermind and in meeting a lot of really great photographers. And and like I normally like we would reach out to people, talk to them, but I just went to your Instagram and I went to your Facebook and I just was floored. Yeah. Like I mean, I was floored because I'm just like
this person is amazing. We have to be friends with her. We have to have her in our world. That's basically what we.
So I just reached out. I mean, I just was like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. Like your work is stunning. Like please tell me that you know you are super busy and you're doing all these amazing things. And you were honest. You're like, I'm doing amazing things, but things you know they weren't exactly where you wanted them to be.
Yeah.
And, well, you know, I think it was more to the mindset that I had as well. I think.
Yes.
One thing is you wanting to be amazing at everything or having lots of clients, but to be honest, we do need to be honest with ourselves and honest and clear about what we want to do. Because when we started to like talk and pitch ideas, I was like, I don't want to shoot kids. I don't want to do this. I don't. And it's like, yeah. I know what I knew what I didn't want to do. I wasn't sure what I want to do.
Yes. Loretta just said #fangirl.
But like I remember like this sounds funny, but I remember getting like physically upset, not with you, but just physically upset with this, like how incredibly talented you were. Yeah. And I could see that you were frustrated. I could see that you were discouraged. And I'm just like, I love finding people that are insanely talented. Yeah. And being like, I know you don't know me, like I know we're strangers, but like I love what you're doing. Yeah. And so it's like, how can we help you? How can we make whatever it is that you're doing, like let's bring it out into the world. And so that was kind of our thing is we're like, what can we do? Because we love you so much and we love your work so much. Well, I mean, I remember you were just kind of down and out. And I remember just sending you messages being like, man, this is what you're doing is so worth pursuing. And from that conversation, it led to just a really cool and awesome friendship. Yeah. That has led us to here. Exactly. Yeah. And so much has changed. I gotta admit this. My son just put on a Burger King mask and walked down from Halloween, and he's looking at me right now with it on, and he's looking, and I cannot admit that.
Why do you have what's a Burger King mask?
I don't know. It's in the it's just in the it's in the stairway.
Yeah.
And
Brian bought it discounted after Halloween, years ago. Before when we still lived in Wisconsin, before we even moved down here, years and years and years ago. And it just shows up every once in a while.
But this is our life, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, we're quirky, we're funny, we're kind of weird, and we decided many years ago just to let that out. I'm
texting my daughter. If you hear the keyboard clacking, that's what's going on. And I'm like, hey, summer.
Yeah.
But yeah. So this is the Burger King.
This is the Burger King mask.
This is the mask.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, you need to go back upstairs.
He just walked down the stairs. His head just popped out with the mask on, and then it slowly went away. And I was like, okay. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, so what we wanted to do is we wanted to talk about just kind of work-life balance and everything like that. So tell us how have you been doing that? And obviously, you're from Poland right now. You're from Poland. There's things that are happening in your world.
There's a lot of things happening.
But how are you doing it? How are you doing that whole work-life balance and everything like that?
I'm doing my best, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, with everything that is happening right now, because I think beginning of 2022, I was full on ready to take on the world.
Sure.
I've booked myself on exhibition with Rembrandt.
Mm-hmm.
The little Dutch pour painter. I think they just matched us because we are both from Europe.
Okay, right.
Sure.
Oh, it makes sense.
There was a lot of things happening. I've pushed on PR agency just to get me on media and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the 24th, the invasion happened. And I really don't want to talk about politics or anything like that, but I was crushed.
Right.
And for the first week, I couldn't do anything. But to be honest, I've decided to allow myself to do that so I can be help in another way for other people when I snap out of it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah. So it was hard, but I think what's important, we can't really shame ourselves from any kind of reaction to this because it's so new. Our generation did not have, well, I'm not sure about the American history, but especially in Europe, we didn't have a vision of World War III in the corner.
No, definitely not.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember in the 80s kind of talking about Russia was the enemy, whatever, but it wasn't as soon as 91 hit and everybody, you know what I mean? The Berlin Wall fell. It was just kind of oh, okay, cool. We don't have to deal with that. I even went to Russia, when I was 19. I stayed there for 2 months, helping in a kids camp and everything like that, and just loving on the kids and everything. So I've been there. I've hung out in St. Petersburg. Never went to Moscow, but still, you know what I mean?
It was on my bucket list to travel to Moscow and taking the Trans-Siberian train and everything. But I don't think it's going to happen now.
No.
But it's circling back to how I felt. It's, I've started to meditate and pray and just thinking how I can help, because I'm not going on the border and hand out blankets or things like that. And I've talked with people who were there and they're we don't really need that much clothes anymore because there's full of it. But every kind of charity needs money to help. So I've donated works for the charity. The auction is going to be next week. It's an online auction, so I think anyone can join from any place in the world. So that's good. I don't have links or anything like that, so I'm not going to plug them. But it's good to know. It's good that it's going somewhere else. I was blown away by the response of the guys I use for print, because they didn't charge me to print the works that are going to the auction. I was okay, thank you. I was
no, that's great.
Yeah. So I've done that. I'm planning to change it into art and probably do an NFT on it.
Right.
And whatever I make, I'll just donate.
Yeah.
but it's again, we have to like, I will have to do my research and see who to donate to, because there is like a lot of weird things happening.
I know, no, definitely. Everybody's like, okay, whoa, there's unrest, so I'm going to pretend to be someone else, and I'm going to pretend that I'm from here or whatever. There's always, so yeah, definitely do your research when you're donating. And even with some of the larger organizations out there and stuff like that as well, like look and see how much is actually going to them and how much is going to like the CEOs and all that kind of stuff. Like CEOs definitely deserve, I mean, we're all about you deserve to be paid what you need to, you know, but at the same time, like just make sure, you know, the
exactly. I've been talking with like quite a wise man recently, and he, because he called me on the first day really that happens, and he was like, but you know, like people are dying every day, like there are millions dying, and there's millions of kids getting born, but like being burned every day. Are you celebrating the ones that are newborns? And I was like, no, you don't think about it. So in a way, it gave me the breather space and the perspective that I'm not going to be Mother Teresa and save everyone, but you know, everyone has to help somehow.
Totally, exactly. No, totally.
So, you know, one of the biggest things that, you know, I think that we connect on is creativity. And you know, I think when we first met, I could see your voice in what you did.
Yeah.
And I could see it diffused with passion. And I'm just curious, you know, has your passion or has your creativity changed in this last year? Because obviously, you know, you know, there's stuff going on in Ukraine, there's horrible stuff happening in Ukraine, you know, but like the pandemic on top of that, like, how has your creativity changed? Has it evolved? Has it, I mean, like,
that's a good question.
What does it become for you?
It's been a learning curve in a way, because I always try to push my creativity and just do something new and something exciting, basically. But I think the first few months were really like, we are stuck at home, let's create whatever and have fun with it. And when it showed up, it was like a, you know, like a sinusoid kind of. But it's definitely pushed me in the ways that I didn't expect, because I've started doing self-portraits and I didn't even think about it before.
No, I love it.
You know, I love it. One of the biggest things that we realized really in the middle of the pandemic was I feel like I was given a reset button. And
in a way.
And it was super weird for me, because, you know, honestly, I was working like 70 hours a week a couple years ago. You know, I was doing like a ride share, you know, we're just trying to get our business together. And I just like, I could not get ahead. I mean, everything was falling apart. And for some reason, it's just like, at the same time as I was doing that, I was like, I still want to be a photographer. But I felt like that wasn't working. So I felt very limited, and I felt kind of like restricted, being like, well, how can I be creative, but also I need to make money? And one of the most bizarre things about the pandemic is that reset button, in so many times in the past, I feel like that reset button had like, what's that called? A farmer has it in a field. It had, I always screw this up.
Plow?
No, not a plow.
Tilling the ground?
No.
I don't know.
They
cows?
I should have thought about this word in advance, because now it's escaping me, and Lindsey doesn't know it. Then
I don't know what.
No, that's what it is. Barbed wire.
There you go.
Whenever I looked at something in life that is kind of an invitation to change and evolve, I've always looked at it with a barbed wire barbed wire feeling. Is that like, can I really embrace this? Can I really look at this and change who I am? And I was kind of scared on it, because I'm like, is this going to come back to bite me in this time that like I literally couldn't work, I couldn't go anywhere, and I'm sitting at home? Is this like a daydream? Like, that's kind of how I felt for like a couple months in the middle of the pandemic. And what I initially just embraced it. I'm being like, this is a season where it's either make or break.
Yeah.
Because it's like, just because there's a pause in the world, it doesn't mean that doesn't mean that there has to be a pause in me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's how you felt as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. It is like that. I was for a few months I was laughing that I don't have birthday this year. I'm still the same age, but it's not true, is it? We still have to. There is no pause button on life, and
right?
we just have to be us. Basically, it's like
no, totally.
But like, I mean, like this feeling is still very real to me because it's like if I didn't embrace that time, I don't think I would be here. Because I think I allowed myself to be more open to to expressing myself, because when you're locked up inside and you're told that you can't connect with people and you can't relate in the way that you used to, you feel like very tied inside. You know what I mean? You're just kind of like, it's like trying to give someone a hug, but they're like, no, thank you.
Yeah. And
then you're like, well, but I love you. And it's like when you're expressing yourself, it's like saying I love you to yourself, right?
Yep.
And I felt like that for so many years leading up to the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I feel like the one thing the pandemic told me about myself is it's okay to love myself.
Yeah.
It's okay to express who I am.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I didn't embrace that stage, I genuinely think I would still be very afraid to express myself.
Yeah.
Because it was like, that was my changing moment.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I remember our conversation, one of the first ones where you were like, I'm so jealous that you just get to create whatever you want. I remember that. I'm like, why can't you? What's stopping you?
Exactly, for real.
And then you've bought a drone that flew away.
Yeah. It's just like these last 2 years have been completely life and heart changing for Lindsey and I.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm so grateful for that, because it's like if you would have asked me 15 years ago that you would have 2 years to really super grow, super mature, super understand who you are, understand your self-worth, understand your value, but also create a space where you can really express yourself, I'd have been like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Like I would have felt like it's kind of like a little kid talking to an adult, and the kid's like, right, are you talking for real, daddy? My kids say that to me all the time. Are you being, and I feel like, and by acknowledging you evolving and growing, I think it gives you even more empowerment to become who you're supposed to be.
Yeah. So like, what motivates you to be creative? Like, what is it that like really motivates you?
Oh my God. Well, my first gut reaction is I don't know how to do different. That's me. Right. That's who I am. That's the being me.
Yeah.
But in a way, it comes to inspiring people, and it depends. Like sometimes it's just being me and being weird and showing the weirdness. But in this.
This is great.
Why I love you.
This is why I love you, because I think you're inspirational to me, because I feel like what I like to do compared to what you do is that you inspire me to, like, if I'm looking at a stairway that has 5 steps, I'm like, I'm only going to go up 2 steps, but with your creativity, I feel like you're on the 4th step.
Yeah.
And I love that you go there, because I feel like how you explain it and how you do it is very relatable.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's really inspiring to me, because it's like, sometimes when people are, I feel like, when you're super like, you have a lot of art, you have a lot of talent in you, sometimes it's hard to kind of get that out into a language that I feel like is easy to understand. And I've always liked our conversations because you really explain what you're doing without, being over confusing.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, I've been criticized about that in the real art world, though.
Sure.
Because you have to they are kind of trained to overcomplicate things, and are we allowed to use the adult words as well, or should we keep it PG? Yeah, well,
go for it.
I call it bullshit, basically.
Totally.
Because if this is a gold background, You can see sun in it, or you can see humans' despair in it if you want. But for me, this is a test piece where I was doing gold leaf. But if I said that in a gallery, they would not accept it. It would have to be a elaborate thing about how I felt, or how this is a comment on human mind.
Right.
So it's one of those things. So it is a double-edged sword, basically, because you, in one hand, it's great because I can inspire people who want to be artists, or who want to do what I do. But then I have to switch into almost different personality when I talk with gallery or an agent or anyone else, because you have to be this grown-up almost who's just. If you imagine an artist in a film, that's kind of how it feels. Like you have to be an actor that just talks about the philosophy of your art.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, I believe that there's a certain. I mean, obviously, we all need to have a certain amount of professionalism with what we do.
Yeah,
exactly.
But
I mean, it's one thing. It's being professional, but like we can talk about art very professional way.
Sure.
And I can tell you my inspiration. From the first sketch I do, I can tell you everything about it. But in the end of the day, it's to you as to a viewer how you feel about it.
That's it. Right. That's it.
And I've been pushing more onto this more almost like a visceral feeling in the art, and going a little bit away from the whole conceptual headspace. So it's a nice blend of everything now. Because I am still rooted in my symbols and in all that mythology and that stays. It's been there forever, and it's going to stay forever, I hope. But in a way, I want to be more, let's call it free.
Sure, that's it. That's it.
So that's what it is.
Yeah. Loretta says creating a narrative that it isn't there is so awkward. Like
as you're talking, Caroline, what pops in my head is that I feel like one of our jobs, as you know, if you're a photographer, an artist, whatever you do, is that it's our job to create a conversation that no one's really having. And I feel like our creativity is an extension of an inner dialogue that's in our head. And I think the more that we have a conversation out of our head, we realize that we're not as weird or as strange as we think we are, because there's a lot of people that have the same conversations that we're having. And we just, sometimes we're programmed either young or when we get older to keep that inside, you know, like don't say that, don't feel that way. And I feel like when you're creating work that creates a conversation with someone that you would never think would have a conversation with you, or starts a conversation in a place that no one's having it, I think sometimes that is the fulfillment that I think is sometimes just missing in the creative world. Is we need more conversation starters. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely. And we just need a lot more honest conversations, I think.
That's it.
In general.
That's it.
I'm definitely against all the gatekeeping and things like that. Like, oh, I'm not telling you how I've done it or how I went there. And you might have a different road, but I'm open book, basically. I just want to share.
Laura said, I'm weird. Let's just not mince words here. You know, so I agree.
Well, but you know, it's I would say, can you not be? If it's who you are, then just be it, embrace it, be weird.
I don't ever want to. I think I spent too much of my life trying to like put myself and everybody else's standards.
That's it.
And I'm just done with that. So this is who I am. This is what I do, whatever. I just don't care. And I definitely married a man that's exactly the same way.
I think you found your puzzle piece.
Yep, exactly.
But like, to be honest, you know, when I met Lindsey, I was just taking photos. I wasn't pursuing them. It wasn't a passion. I didn't actually see it as a source of income or any kind of stability.
So that's always been my whole thing, is like, I want to be able to like promote whoever, if I see talent in, like I saw talent in Brian and I'm like, Brian, we need to make this a business. Like we need to, you need to actually do this for real. Like there is talent that you have and let's make this happen. That was the same way when we met you, Carolina. It was like, oh my gosh, she has so much talent. how can we make her money? We need to make sure that this happens. Like, I feel like, and I mean, in everything that I do, whenever I meet anybody, I like, that's my goal, is to like bring you up and to show you how amazing you really are, and show you how like talented and how like what you have, what your potential is, I guess, is one of my main things.
Like, one thing that people always say to us is that we have very intoxicating energy. And I never even felt that. I never even realized that was a dynamic. But it's just like, I love my energy. And it's kind of like, if my mouth is the siphon where it opens and it comes out and doesn't. I feel like I spent so much of my life holding back. So when I meet people or I hear things or I feel things, I realize that I need to get it out. And when I can encourage people in a place where they feel seen and heard, that is honestly the most rewarding experience. And it's just like, Caroline, I've seen your work, just like I was just going through your profile, and I'm just like, man, you're living your authentic version of yourself. I mean, like, but we're all like living in variations of that at times, not always 100%.
Right.
So, you know, I know it's not like, well, I'm the best me all the time, you know, but what I've learned hard way and good ways is to surround myself with people that are having the same conversation. That the words are the same. It's just how they come out are a little bit different. And I've learned to embrace that.
Yeah, it is, because, you know, like it on the end of the day, it comes out to just be you.
Exactly.
It took me a good while to learn that. Sometimes you still, I still sometimes lose the sense of like, is it okay? You know, you just hang on to someone's judgment of you, basically, or perception of you. But then you just have to think about it and be like, hey, but actually, who cares? It's an interesting point of view that they have.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
I'm just going to wear glitter and be okay with it. If they don't like it, it's their problem, not mine.
Do you have a shoot or an experience that has happened? It could have happened whenever, that has kind of shaped you, that you're like, you go like, something's happening now and you're like, oh, because I went through this, I'm better at that.
Well, I don't know. Do I? I don't know. No, honestly, I've never thought about this this way, because I always knew what I want to do in a way, because ever since I was, I don't know, able to hold a crayon, I was drawing.
Right.
I'd rather be home drawing than going outside playing a ball, and my grandma hated me for that. It was like, oh God, it's like, no, do I have to? I'm just doing that. So I had crazy ideas of becoming a lawyer, of becoming an architect, or becoming an archaeologist. But it was always kind of like, I've seen a film that they hack stuff. So I was like, oh yes, I'm going to be a IT hacker thing.
Right.
Something.
I know, same.
Yeah, so it was that. But in the back of my head, when it came to like picking university on the end of the high school, I was like, yeah, that's it. That's my road. I know what I want to do. And in a way, it wasn't really conscious.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it was leading to it, basically. And I've met a human, like a fellow human from high school recently. And she told me that they always kind of envied me, the clear vision that I have.
Sure.
And for me, it was like, oh my God, I thought everyone in high school hate me. Like, I thought they're not interested. They don't, you know, like we didn't really connect. I didn't feel like I had friends over there. We had some like laughs and stuff, but I was like, why nobody told me you were just like in the ave of just being amazed that I've got a clear path, because I felt like I'm the sore thumb that just sticks out and nobody really cares about, or they just laugh at you when you leave.
Right.
So it was so weird. But it kind of opened my eyes to the fact that I was always like that.
Yeah.
Like I always did art. Yeah, and with photography, my first shot was on the, like a first page shot.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Kodak cameras? Like the little small, the first digital one that probably had like a 1 megapixel.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how he got started. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
my
Canon
friend,
power shot.
we went to my country house with my friend from like a primary school. We were both adults at the time. And she's like, oh, can you take some nude photos of me? Okay. Weird flex, but okay.
Right?
Sure. Get into the bushes and we'll do it. So I've actually like put her into a bush and everything. I actually have somewhere the photos, like they are on my Flickr account or something like this. And I looked at them like, this is where it started. Like, this is the point where I was like, you can create what I do with paints digitally.
Yeah.
It's easier. Yay. It's not easier, but
right.
Easier. So that was the point. But I didn't even have like the proper revelation, or like I'm throwing away everything and becoming an artist, because I think I wouldn't know what else to be. It's just who I am. Yeah.
I didn't know I was creative or had any creative abilities until like sophomore year of high school, and I took a creative writing class, and I didn't realize that even
though his grammar is horrible, but it's all good.
But I had a really life-changing experience because I had so much in my head, but I didn't know how to express it. So when the intention in this space was to write out what you're feeling, it gave me the freedom to just let that come out. And photography was the farthest thing from my brain. I just was like, oh, I'm actually expressing myself. And I have like this tub somewhere in my house of all these things I've written, because I was like, once I got it out a little bit, I was like, I really like how this feels. And I feel like, you know, when we're young, it's kind of like learning how to walk, right? You know, like a baby crawls because it's what it knows how to do. But then as it gets older, it learns that it has other muscles that enables it to do other things. And in that process, my brain was flexing itself, being, well, this is how you are supposed to live. This is how you're supposed to create. And I digested that experience so much because I was in a funny place, because I would be in study hall, just sitting there staring at the walls, being like, what is my life about? Why am I here? Why am I living? All these, I mean, I wasn't crazy. I wasn't feeling any weird thoughts. I just didn't know how to express myself. And that's what was my introduction to me realizing that my words were like the embryo before the photos. You know, I think that's how I conceived the reality that I was creative.
No, it's good.
Well, I actually had a question before that. Caroline, are your parents artists, or is there like, were you in any kind of creative atmosphere before you jumped into photography?
They might. Well, my mom is studying photography right now.
Okay.
And she signed up for her master's, so that a little bit tells a little bit. My dad was always into photography, and he taught me the analog and things like that. Mom was very creative. She preferred to do it in the kitchen since I knew her. But when we started to talk when I was adult, she always said like she wanted to go to an art school, couldn't. But she still like draw and paints and things like that. So they are creative. Not like as a practicing artist, but definitely a very much artistic house.
No, I love it.
Like my dad was this he worked a couple different jobs, but it wasn't creative. My mom, I mean, like, this is funny because I'd say this now and people are like, they actually allowed this. My mom would go to each school that I would go to. I mean, I would, elementary, middle, high school. But basically she would she was called the craft lady. And she would just, this was before the internet, this is before Pinterest, so this was all from probably just from her imagination. But she would just have these projects, and she would just go to the school and ask him if she could just take over the 1 hour of the school year, 1 hour of the school day, and just teach kids how to make crafts.
Awesome.
And one of the favorite things that she would do is that she would just bring a ton of apples and basically toothpicks, and then the kids would cut out little feathers in the color of a, like, basically they would make these apple turkeys. And they would just cut out, like, with construction paper, whatever color they wanted, and then paste it do the toothpicks, and those would be the back feathers. And then the legs would be the toothpicks, and then they do something funky with the head. But I mean, she did this for years and years, and like probably 15 years later, like I'll be in the grocery store, and you'd be like, people come up to me like, do you know that your mom changed my life because she did that?
Amazing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, my mom is, I think she's always been creative, but I know, never picked up a camera. I don't think she ever drew. I think she did write. But
she learned how to crochet. And she makes cookies every year. We get cookies and all that kind of stuff. Amazing. And like whatever. And she like will paint her little, she'll find a like old worn out statue at a garage sale or a thrift store, and then she'll paint it. And she's not perfect. And so, you know, you see all the brush strokes and all that kind of stuff, but you know, and the funny thing is that she's colorblind. So you have to actually,
okay.
So she's like, is this color the same as this? She would like ask me what color, you know. So, you know. But that's the whole thing, is she never let any of that hold her back or anything like that. So it's good.
So I'm gonna ask this question. So guys, we have kind of a list of questions that we kind of want to roll with here.
I'm trying to keep Brian on track, so every once in a while.
It's to be honest, when me and Brian are talking, it's usually like,
it's way
what station we end up, like how do we get here?
Nope, I know.
This is danger when you get to a place with Lindsey and I, and we're just really great friends, and like we just talk about everything and anything, and there's no rhyme or reason why we go certain directions, just because it's just where our brains are. I mean, and I think that's us kind of exercising our brains, right? You know, it's like, it's not like putting boundaries on what you need to be doing in the moment, because I feel like sometimes you need to allow those boundaries to kind of fall apart to allow what you need to be to come out. Because I feel like sometimes sometimes too much structure is kind of a bad.
Oh, I know. Especially with creatives.
You know what I mean? but I think it's allowing each other to breathe. Especially when you want to, allowing yourself to breathe.
You
know, it's like,
but it falls down to trusting yourself and trusting others as well, because it's if you don't trust yourself that you're going to create, or you're going to know what you're doing, might be weird, and we might end up in a very weird place.
That's awesome.
So that kind of leads to my next question here. Since you are the creator of your work, and I think this is the best way to kind of ask it, what are the words that you want people to feel when they look at your work, or what do you feel about your work?
Well, it depends which work you look at. Well, for me, it's always a little bit about showing the hope that even if you see some of my very dark work or very gruesome work, I will always make sure, if you look at it deep enough, you'll see that there is a hope in it, because this is how life works. Everything that happens to us, it is for a reason. We might not know the reason, but it's still happening to us because it wants to either warn us of something, stop us from doing something, or just teach us a lesson.
Exactly.
It's not an easy truth to accept, but it's basically trusting, like whatever you believe in,
right?
Or you don't believe in anything, and it's a coincidence. That coincidence happened in a way for a reason, for you not to be in a certain place, or not to or to do certain thing. So there is a lot of hope in my works, I think, and sometimes it's working through things that are happening in the head as well. I think when I moved to UK, I got a little bit depressed. Well, a little bit. I was functioning with depression, basically.
Yeah, totally.
And I've created a series of, it wasn't an etching because I didn't have a printing press at the time, but it was like an ink drawings that looked like etchings. I would never put that on my wall, never, because it was actually like creatures that were coming out from the deepest, darkest places of my mind.
Right.
Those pieces sold for like hundreds of dollars in galleries.
Man, that's.
And I was like,
I love that.
Whew, you know, it's weird. I mean, I've released that energy from my brain.
Yeah.
And I just hope someone who looks at it finds happiness in it, because it was dark, man. It was dark and weird.
You know, one of the most interesting things like about what you're saying here, and because it kind of makes my brain explode a couple different places, is that some of the best songs, some of the most amazing art out there, like things I've seen documentaries on, like things I've just done research on, that they usually come from a really gritty, broken, desperate place, or a healing place, or a forgotten place.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that, you know, that you don't have to create butterflies. Right? You know what I mean? Like you know, it like your background, like, you know, but your background has a lot of layers and colors to it. And I feel like that's probably a little bit how you feel about your art, a little bit how you feel about yourself, maybe how you feel
it's
about
kind
anything.
of like my art is like onions. It has layers.
Yes. But also it makes you cry. You know,
we just say my art is like ogres.
Yes.
You know, and it's like I'm so glad we're talking about this, because this is the really big thing for me, is that what you're talking about is what I have seriously learned to embrace in our work, is to embrace the grittiness, to embrace the obscure, to embrace the awkwardness. Because it's just like, you know, you can't always create from a happy place. Like, I feel like that's almost impossible. You know,
no, it's not. But then we just have to remember, if you
always,
want to create from a happy place, you're welcome to, because some people are just genuinely happy. I've hesitated because I don't know a person who's always happy, but there might be some humans that are like, just, oh yeah, butterfly, I'll run happy there.
Right.
But in all of this, you have to find your own path, and you have to accept it. Because you're not going to be me, and you're not going to create images like I do, and you're not going they're not going to be you. Or I've seen so many people like being enchanted by Brooke Shaden's work.
Right.
And they are trying to create exactly the same images.
And that's
never going to work, because it's who she is, not who they are.
Right.
It's this kind of beautiful balance of finding the right means of expression. I think that's the right word. Like
Lindsey was like,
it's not an easy work. It's not something that will just show up. But
well, I genuinely think creation from concept to birth, because I feel like that's kind of how it is, because, you know, obviously we have 4 kids. Birth is not pretty, okay?
Yes, but especially not mine. My pregnancies do not go very well.
But
that's why we're done.
But I mean, like, maybe there's probably a better way to say this, but I think it's just like, you know, if you're a photographer, you're an entrepreneur, you're creating something right now, it does not have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be this sterile environment where everything is pristine. And when you're giving birth to something that you love, it is probably one of the most messy things, but it actually shows you how much time and energy you put into what you're creating.
Exactly.
Because you need reminders of that. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I've learned to just embrace that grittiness of what I'm feeling. And you know, when you and I are shooting in the studio, we tell everyone that comes in, we say, our environment is a safe place where you can talk and express yourself without judgment.
Yeah.
And we say that for us to be super honest.
Yeah.
Because that's how we built it and that's how we conceived it. So when they come in the studio, that's saying, hey, you can give birth to the same thing in front of us.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a creative, it's like, I think there's a lot of like warning signs and stop signs and, turn around, you're going the wrong place.
It's more us as an adult, we get that. And do we get that, or is it just in our head?
Right.
I think it's we create them for ourselves.
I agree. Yeah. Like I get there a lot, and I'm starting to fully understand this, but you always will. I live my heart on my sleeve.
Yeah.
I really do. Like I'll cry at the drop of a hat, man. Like
somebody gave him a compliment and he just started bawling all over Facebook and his live and everything like that. I'll go on
TikTok and it would just be this really cheesy thing, and it just hits me because it's that emotion.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm really funny. I cry when I get mad, and it's really counterproductive, but then also kind of productive. But that I'm really passionate.
I'm in the middle when I get really angry.
Yeah.
But angry, like I don't know what else to do. I will cry then.
Yep.
Like out of frustration because I don't want to hurt someone else.
Yep.
But then I think it happened to me once when I cried on a commercial or something. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting old.
Brian was like watching the Olympics, and then a commercial came on, and it was like a bunch of families getting together, and like it was a Publix commercial, like a grocery store commercial, and he totally started bawling. Like,
oh,
well, awesome. I wasn't even paying attention to it until like the very end. Well, so like, I didn't get caught up with
I'm obsessed with connection.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed with vulnerability. Now, it's not always this perfect place where I always want to be vulnerable. Sometimes I'm kind of like, I don't want to be vulnerable with this because I don't feel great about it. But when I see something that someone's showing me, but then I see the heartbeat behind it, I explode from the inside out, and that's where my emotions come from. Like, if you show me vulnerability, I'm like, cool, let's go there. Let's talk about it. Let's digest it a little bit.
Yeah, that's you know what, I've read a book by Neil Gaiman about creativity. It's an amazing book. I'll link it later because it's beautiful. It's like a little booklet that he and like an illustrator created, and there is a one sentence in it that I was like, you little sneaky smart person.
Yes.
What they said is the real art comes from truth.
That's it.
And an artist have to be honest with what they are creating and with their audience. That's one thing. So creating a true art and perfect, quote unquote perfect, your art will be like walking down naked on the street because everyone will see your truth. And I felt like when you said about the vulnerability that I can never pronounce it. It's one of those words. That's exactly it. You have to allow others in, and you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable and honest. Because otherwise it falls down again to being yourself. If you're not honest, who are you? Can you be someone else?
Right?
Oh man, I just love what we're talking about. Like, this is so great. It's just like, I feel like when I'm being vulnerable with something, it's like me sending a flare up in the air. It gets people's attention because I want people to know that they can express themselves. And I feel like we often meet people, and I see people that are trying to express themselves, but I feel like they're a little bit afraid to light the wick of their imagination. They're a little bit afraid to, throw it up in the air because they're afraid of what's going to bring to their life. And I feel like if you're in a space where you're expressing yourself, where you're not hurting yourself and you're not hurting other people, but you're bringing joy and hope into people's lives, do it. And the thing is, I don't feel like that ever feels safe. I don't feel like that ever feels safe when you're drawing attention to yourself because you're expressing yourself, but you're not hurting someone. that is something that you should always be pursuing.
Yeah.
So
We went deep.
we did, for real.
Let's see.
Trying to see what other questions that we want to so like, what's the most recent healthy investment in yourself or your business?
In myself, probably talking with a therapist.
Okay.
Honestly,
totally.
I'm okay. I don't have any struggles, as in like mentally. But I feel like every human from time to time needs to talk with someone who is not going to judge them, but are going to help them. And you have to pay for it sometimes.
But that's okay.
Man, a lot of people don't know this, but literally before COVID happened, I did some counseling. And I worked through a lot of things, and it worked because I said, this is what I need to work on. I was I went into it with open arms. I went, here I am, let's do this. And I think because of that experience, it allowed me to really connect to who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing. And that really was the foundation behind us doing the portraits in the studio. It really was. Because I needed to go through that in order for me to know what I was actually presenting to the world.
It is that. And it's you can invest all you want in education, in your studio, in equipment, but if in any way, shape, or form you feel you need help, you're the captain of the ship, basically. So help yourself first and then help others.
And also, it is so important to always ask for help. You can press that SOS button as many times as you want. It's better to get it out into the world that you need someone to talk to than let it build up and explode from the inside out. And I feel like these last 2 years, there's been so much that I said, like, I'm still dealing with, but I know that a lot of the world's dealing with is that we're like, can I be me again? Can I talk about how I feel again? And I feel like as an artist, I took those emotions and I poured it into the mentoring, and I poured it into the photography because that's how I got out.
He's a verbal processor. I don't know if you've realized this, but you never, ever have to wonder what Brian is thinking at any given moment. And that's one of the things that I love about him. I'm weird because I'm more introverted, and so it's harder for me. I can do it. I definitely can do it, but it takes more work for me to be able to get out there. And Brian's like, oh, I'm just going to go live. I had an idea. And I'm like, okay, so I have this idea for live. I had it at 4:00 in the morning. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to think about it and I'm going to do this. And by 12, I'm ready, so it takes me.
It's a weird, I've never fit into one category of introvert or extrovert.
Right. Same.
So I'm either introverted extrovert or extroverted introvert.
I think I'm an extroverted introvert. I think that's what because I draw where do you draw your energy from? Do you get energy from do you feel exhausted after you've hung out with somebody, or
it depends who it is, but usually I always called it I have to defrost a little bit from humans. I'll go into my room and just under the blanket.
That's it.
Be like, that's it. Done my duties.
Exactly.
But I enjoy it. I'll still go if it's a fun party. I'll go to a party.
Same. And I always assumed that I was an extrovert because I love people so much, and I'm like, I really want to get to know this person. I really want to be able to pour into this person. I really want to be able to do this or that or whatever. But I think for me, it was when I became a stay-at-home mom, and I suddenly was never alone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was when I was like, wait, hold on. And I had struggled with depression so bad because I was like, I didn't have that space to be able to come back and be myself. So like I realized even when I was working, like corporate or any job, any of the jobs, I would always take my lunch break and like go out into a field. Or like if it was too cold, I would just drive until I found something pretty that I could look at. And then I would journal, or I would read a book, or I would read this or that, or listen to a podcast or whatever it was. And I would like reset. And then that would get me back to where I needed to be, to where I could be as extroverted as I needed to be and everything. And so I think the same thing happened a little bit when we were mentoring as well. When we were doing that full time, like 70 hours a week.
That's a lot.
Like I realized that like I was being depleted and I didn't have that time to kind of reset. And so like, that's one of those things that I'm just like, no, that we just need to guard our time. I think as artists, we need to guard our time.
100%.
Because
but that's where the you know, the balance comes in.
Exactly.
And healthy boundaries and things like that, because we all need them. We definitely need boundaries in our lives, and we need to know when to draw the line.
Exactly. No, I love it. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing in your business and like what you're promoting and how we can help get your message out to the world and all that kind of stuff.
So it's a shameless plug now.
Yes, exactly. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't
want to
care.
be able to promote.
I mean, if they judge us, it's their problem, not ours.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah. So what I do art. That's one thing, but we've talked about it for an hour.
Yeah.
I basically right now run like mentoring classes. I'm working on my masterclass for probably more advanced photographers, so we can actually deep dive into techniques and things like that. But I do mentoring where, regardless of what's your stage, I help people with their creativity. It's not about sales. It's not about making money. They might come as a result of you having fun. Yeah. But it is about how to create fun things, sometimes how to use Photoshop. It might be that easy, but we do focus on like idea generation and creativity and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. That's so great. To be able to have that creative outlet to where you're not just doing commissioned artwork, where you're like, okay, this person asked me to take this photo, so I'm going to take this photo, and then I'm going to sell this photo to them. But it's more like allowing yourself to be creative and then maybe being able to sell it out of that.
Yeah. I mean, some things that my students sent me, I can't share yet because it's not finished. But oh my gosh, it's taking it from like point A to probably X right now. We are not at Z yet, but it's a different level. Like when I see what she's creating, it's like, whoa, that's just no.
I feel like if a photographer or an artist were to work with you, what I think that I would get from you is I think I would get not just how to use Photoshop, but I think really how to embrace your creative process. Yeah. And allowing, it may sound funny, but like I think of sometimes creativity is like a rubber ball. Is that sometimes we're just like dribbling, like do. But I feel like what you would teach them and you would help them come into this is take that ball and let it hit all the corners of their imagination. Yeah. And allow.
Sometimes it's not pleasant.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But like.
Come from an academic background. I teach at university, so sometimes I'm not formal in a way that I'll be, tied up and very straight, but there's no bullshit.
Yeah.
If something is not to your standard, I'll call it out. Basically.
Sure.
I'll try to be as polite as I can, but sometimes the fact that English is my second language might come up as being super straight to the point, which is great because I want to be honest. Exactly. I'm not going to say you're doing terrible things, but I'll just ask if you're happy with it and if you think it's reaching your 100% potential.
I agree. And I think that you're really great at calling someone's inner artist out, their inner imagination.
Yeah.
I think we have an imagination that we're like, cool, I see this, I see that. But I feel like you're really great at unpacking that. Yeah. And I could see it in your work is that there's so many layers, not just the Photoshop, but just the creation of the end product that I think that you have just extreme revelation on that I think will help a lot of people that want to go there. They will incredibly benefit from.
Yeah. because, you know, like I've never started learning camera from, well, my dad would probably kill me if I say that. But I've never cared about settings.
Yeah,
sure.
I honestly never cared about the settings. To be honest, in the first few years when I was shooting, I never really cared about the fact that the image is 100% sharp as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was more about, yeah, I like that light. I'm not going to think if it's right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just create something, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
It came back to me in being super, like, over perfect over some of the images, and I would be obsessing about settings and everything, so it just swinged back.
Mm-hmm.
But now I think I'm in the beautiful middle when I don't have to think about the settings and how I want it, because I know how to do it.
Exactly.
But now it's just opening the other door of like, don't think about it, just go have fun.
I had someone the other day ask me about like camera settings, and they're like, how do you know how to use the right settings? And I struggled with that for so many years. Like, I mean, like literally for 5 years, I couldn't figure it out. I was terrified of it. And basically I just told them my brain is smarter than the camera. And I just learned that certain settings just work because I don't think about the numbers anymore. I'm thinking about what I'm creating, not the numbers, but what I'm creating.
Yeah.
It's kind of like driving a car with the manual stick.
That's it.
You're not thinking about what gear you're in, or you.
Right.
Yeah.
Or so they tell me, because I don't have a driving license.
I know,
but but I think what's important here is that
So here in Georgia, you cannot function without a driver's license. Like it is not.
Well, you could.
I mean, so
no, you need a state ID. Yes, you need.
No. I'm not even saying that.
Yes.
I'm saying like the public transportation places are like miles. The bus stops and things like that are miles apart.
Well,
like
it depends on where you live, though.
Yeah,
I think that if I was living in states, I would have a driver's license. Everything is so far away from one point to another.
Exactly.
I tried to use a public transport when I was living in Sarasota for a little bit. It's a nightmare. It doesn't work at all. I've resulted into like taking Uber rides everywhere, but that's not an option then. If you're there for a month, that's fine. But if you're there for a long time, you just have to do it. Exactly. So I even had like all the paperwork in my hand and wanted to do it in states. And then I moved to New Orleans. So life had a different choice. And here, I mean, buses are everywhere. Trains go relatively fine. I've traveled the world without it.
Yeah.
But I'm at the point, and you know, we are live right now, so I might just say it. I'm at the point where I think I have to do it. Yes. So anyone, feel free to call me out if until the end of the year I'm not having it, because that's
even with the price of petrol right now. Is it crazy over there? Like it is right now?
Crazy. Yeah. I've seen in one place it was £1.80. So that would be over $2, but that's per liter, not per gallon.
Liter, not per gallon, because there's like 4 liters in a gallon or so. Yeah. So
why do we need liter cars? I don't understand. Anyway.
No, it's America is the only place that functions in gallons, right?
Well, but I mean,
like we stole it from England. Like England used to, you know, the UK used to function in
gallons when you buy milk and juice. The rest is liters.
Yep.
Yeah,
but
it is confusing.
I wonder, pints for beer, right? Like
it's pints for beer. It's stones and pounds for weight, as in like human weights. But if you're buying veggies, it's kilograms and grams.
Yep.
I wonder how much. I wonder how much this conversation is going to change when we all have electric cars.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to happen. I mean, in 30 years,
it's probably going. Yeah.
I
just raise the electricity price.
Yeah. Oh, they will.
Exactly.
For sure.
They will. They'll find a way to be able to
like $50 a charge.
Exactly.
Anyway,
I
actually had 2 more questions.
Okay.
And then actually 1 more question.
Yeah.
And we can talk about what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
What are you currently working on right now? Like, is there any kind of any project that you?
I know you were saying you were working with a photographer right now.
But I'm saying like your own like
my own thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm working on creating a project that it's not going to be just art, as in, well, it's going to be just art, but not just photography. About dreams and the importance of dreams.
Love it.
I'm starting light with the importance of dreams in art history. She said starting light the whole 20 centuries.
Yes.
But I want to focus on like coming back to the biblical dreams and just like talking with a theologist and stuff like that to create something from there.
Yeah.
But then tomorrow I'm shooting a bunch of fun people from different cultural backgrounds, and we're doing like a fine art meets their own culture thing. So I gave them a homework. Even if you're shooting with me and you're my model, well, client, I'm like, this is your homework. You're from India. You're from your parents are from Turkey and from Poland. Find me something that is close to your heart from your country or from history of your country or from
That's so great, man. That's so great.
And then we'll just create it as if this was a painting in Baroque or something like this. So it's fashion meets fine art meets culture.
No, it's awesome. Our friend, we actually have a friend of ours that's what he does. Is he is all about dreams and interpretations, and that's like his whole world. He's got a whole mastermind around just dream interpretation.
Oh, cool!
And stuff like that.
Send me his details.
I just tagged him in this live.
Yeah,
but I can also invite you into his like free group and stuff like that because it's amazing.
I mean, like
for real.
When we talk about dreaming here, I feel like that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah,
and
it is. We can have that conversation anytime, but
I would. I mean, I know. Even if it's just for us, and if we're just talking to ourselves, but I would love kind of that just dreaming.
Yeah,
let's get dreaming.
You know what I mean? Because it's like I think sometimes like we should be doing this. We should have like we should have a start point. We should have an end point.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's the dreaming in the middle that we don't talk about, because I feel in order for the get from the beginning to the end, there's that dreaming section. That we don't often kind of expose. We just like, okay, I'm here, and I feel like dreaming would be awesome.
Yeah. So
did you have a dream?
Yes.
Yeah.
But like create it and interpret it and all that kind of stuff.
I don't
know. Like how that all works.
Yeah, I'd love that. We can set up another live.
I definitely. Because like I think this discussion has really kind of been birthed out of that dreaming for us, because we have been in a place where I feel
Jake, I tagged him in it. He's like, Brian Cohen, it's all about the dream life.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just like
it is.
How you dream is generally how you live.
Exactly.
Because it may not be 100%.
Brian, I hope not.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So last night I totally had this dream where we were like in a boat rowing, and like every time that we rowed, like we would go, never give up, never give up, never give up.
Well, but that's how you live. In my case, the last dream I had was I was fighting zombies in a cathedral, like a church cathedral.
Yes.
I don't watch films with zombies. I don't know where that came from.
Right.
I guess I'm just fighting monsters. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like when I'm stressed about something, I have this dream that I'm in my old childhood supermarket, and I can't find my shoes. And I'm walking around, no one cares about me, and I'm looking for my shoes, and somehow I end up back at school and they're in a locker.
Okay.
I don't know why I had this dream all the time.
I forget either my shirt or my pants, and I'm at my parents' house, and there's a party going on upstairs, and there's dozens of people upstairs, and I'm downstairs in my basement room, and I've got to figure out, because my whatever that piece of clothing is in my mom's room, and I've got to figure out a way to like.
But then your mom says you need to put some clothes on. That's what your dream. Oh god.
So I've got to sneak in there and try and figure out how to.
But I often think of it
vulnerability. Both of those are vulnerability.
Yeah.
But
so yes.
Yeah. So we should tell about what we're doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. We should do that. See,
because you are all about dreams and helping people to find theirs, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Like I saw that talent in Brian and I'm like, we need to make this happen.
Yeah.
I saw that talent in you. Actually, so Jake said, Carolina, you're designed to fight against the dead spirit of religion so that others may know what their relationship with God truly
That's
is.
great.
Oh my God,
So
this man sees right through me.
I'm telling you.
Next comment will be, you're a witch, but don't tell anyone.
Right? No.
Busted.
No, it's
No,
awesome.
that's not what's
It's
happening.
perfect.
But
yeah,
I
so
want to speak more thing about dream real quick.
yeah, okay.
I
cool.
feel like, you know, when you really, really look at your dream and
Yeah.
you really invest in it, and you give it the time, food, air, and water, all the things it needs, it's
Mhm.
literally like turning the heat up on an air balloon.
Yeah.
It allows you to leave the ground and
Mhm.
it puts you in a perspective that you would never realize you could be at.
Yeah.
And I feel like dreaming should always be like that. It should be the fuel that makes you go up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And discouragement is the fuel that keeps you down.
Yeah.
And the thing is, as we learn, as we develop as a person, as a photographer,
Yeah.
we learn how to put that fuel in that tank
Mhm.
and turn that heat up
Mhm.
where we burn the things that hold us down. Then it orders us to dream in a capacity that we can never imagine because we can see ourselves from a perspective that we never thought we could see.
Exactly.
And that's what I love about dreaming. And that's why I feel like creativity, when it's healthy,
Yeah.
that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Seeing yourself from a point of view that you didn't think you could be.
Yeah, and so just letting go of all the judgments you have.
Yeah. Or
And
people's
asking
judgments.
yourself, are they yours? Or you just
Yeah.
bought them from someone?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
especially judgments being like, well, it's interesting. Huh. I never thought you would do that.
Right?
Okay.
No, you know which one I love the most?
Huh?
It's the most basic question you can ask anyone. Like, are you wearing that?
Right?
And
Yeah,
then you
yeah,
just
exactly. Yeah.
because you can be genuine in the question. You'll be like, oh, you're wearing this, cool. Or you can be like,
Uh-huh.
you're really
Are
wearing
you
this.
gonna wear that?
Yeah. Yeah. And now it's all in your head. Which one is it?
Exactly.
Sometimes people's objections to what they're saying is actually an objection to them not embracing, wishing they could do what you're doing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like sometimes, and that's what we think it's a personal attack on us, when it's really it's just a limitation or fear in themselves of not
Mhm.
working through what
Yeah.
they have not had freedom in.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
freedom's
it's kind
scary.
of like we are just
Freedom's
the mirror
expensive.
for them. Yeah.
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 Freedom's expensive.
Yeah.
Being free is really expensive, and it's not just
And
money
sometimes
wise. I mean,
tiring.
Mhm.
relationship.
Yeah.
All
All right.
Okay.
So what we are doing?
And we're doing a couple different things.
Yeah.
But Lindsay's going to be really technical about it, but I'm not going to let her do it.
What?
I'm not going to let her get technical.
No, we are
Lindsay's
in the
gonna get,
dreamy
like,
zone.
No. So what we're doing is we're creating a
Yeah.
space for creatives to come together.
Yeah.
Photographers has been our world, has
Yeah.
been what we know more than anything else.
But we feel called to being more than that.
Yeah.
It's not just for someone who has a camera. I think it's someone that has imagination, and that's everybody.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things that, like, when we talk about it, people are like, so you're doing this for other entrepreneurs, right? Not
Yeah.
just photographers. And so it probably will be at some point. But yeah, so we are creating a container. We want to do it for 90 days at the beginning.
Yeah.
Want to get at least 10 people together, and then but no more than 20 is kind of my thought.
Yeah.
Just so it's small, tight-knit group of people.
Yep.
And really just go deep and figure out what your dreams are. What are you called to do?
Yep.
What is it that you need to do in the next season of your life,
Yeah.
in the next season of your business, and the next, what is it that you are meant to do?
Exactly.
And let's figure out a way to make this really key and really dive in there and be like, okay, this is who you are.
Yeah.
This is what your potential is. This is what I want to do for you. And
Yeah.
the reason why it's going to be small at first is because
We want to be able to do
we want to
that.
be able to do it. We
Mm.
want to be able to give you personalized care. So it would be things like pricing and structure and packages and things
Yeah.
like that. How to promote yourself, how to get yourself out there. I know ads really well, so I can teach you both Facebook, and I'm learning Google Ads right now. So that kind of thing,
Yeah.
whatever it is, you know what I mean? There's a bunch of different things
Yeah.
that we're going to be working on, but more than anything, it's going to be what is it that you need in your
Well,
business right now?
I-
What can we,
And I
can we
guess
draw
with you guys, it's also like you're not going to be afraid of calling people out if they don't do it.
Exactly.
Sure.
It's one thing teaching it, but then nobody's going to do it for them. They have to do the work.
Sure.
No,
and
you're totally right.
The two of you, it's amazing at doing this. I know.
You know, the one key word that Lindsey didn't mention was purpose.
Yeah.
Is that Lindsey and I are driven by purpose. And we feel like when you find your purpose, you find your position. And when you find your position, you find your potential.
Yeah.
And when you find your potential, it unpacks, it alleviates stress and worry, because you're like, I actually have a goal. And I feel like that's often what gets in the way of so many dreams in life. Yeah. Is that we build this roadblock being like, can I be this way? Can I express myself this way? And just like we do in our studio, it's judgment-free zone. And that's what we want to bring entrepreneurs and photographers in, is this judgment zone. This judgment zone.
Yes, we're going to judge you.
We're going to judge you. Sorry. That's how it's going to be.
Yeah.
A judgment-free zone, because it's just like, when you feel welcome, it's kind of like when a friend invites you over compared to a stranger. Yeah. A stranger that you don't know on the street would probably never invite you over. But when you have a friend, they come over, they knock on the door, they sit on your couch, they go in your refrigerator. One of my really great friends says that. We have that relationship. Yeah. And that's the kind of relationship we want photographers to have with their business. We want them to understand what's in the refrigerator. We want them to understand that they can sit on the couch and think, that they can go out and get fresh air, be inspired by everything. But honestly, if you aren't healthy, your business isn't healthy. Yeah. And we want to have that familiar and that friendship-based connection with your business again. Yeah. But it has to be within you first to understand that. Yeah. And I can only speak from that because that's how Lindsey and I rebuilt our business like that. Exactly. We had to reconnect with ourselves before we reconnect with our business. Yeah. Because your business doesn't have a brain. Your business doesn't have legs. It doesn't have a heart. It doesn't have a soul. You have the heart and soul. Yeah. And sometimes we try to be two different things at one time and we don't do very well. Connect with yourself first, then your business will fall in line. Yeah. And that's what we want to teach people and photographers and entrepreneurs. Yeah.
So where they can find you?
Yeah. They can find us they can go to brianpluslindsey.com/chat if you want to have a conversation. So I just put the link in the comments.
It'd be funny if we geocache this. Yeah. If we just put like a
where? We're at 2867.
No, don't do that. No.
My God, you just doxed you.
I guess they really want to.
What I was thinking about, geocache is that you just put like some coordinates from a GPS in it, and then it shows up. That's what if we just did that? Yeah. If you want to spend time with us, put in this geocache information, and we'll show up.
Yeah, there is a game of like geocaching as well.
Yes, there is.
I know. I always cache to something and then just do a scavenger hunt to find Lindsey and Brian.
Yes, exactly.
And the other thing that we didn't mention is that we are also doing our Finally Love Yourself portraits. Yeah. And that is really kind of how we cut our teeth with understanding who we are and why we're doing this. Yeah. And the thing is, what we do is that we invite women pretty much of any age, any background, of any experience, anything you can imagine. We have shot women that have stage 4 breast cancer, that have filed for divorce, that have been through so much traumatic, and they come in and we love on them and we celebrate them. Yeah. And these photos, they aren't just photos, guys. There's our literally our shoots are 90% conversation, 10% photos. We're loving and encouraging, and the photos that we get out of that time is because we're loving and encouraging the women. Yeah. So
definitely just reach out to us.
So like we're doing 2 passion projects right now, and the language of both of them are so together, and that's what we love doing. Yeah. We just love pouring into people, because I think that's what the world needs, is that we need people to be loved on again. Yeah. We need people to feel seen and heard again. And I feel like that's been in so many ways kind of restricted. It's kind of been saying put on hold, and we kind of want to remove those boundaries and allow people to love themselves again.
Exactly.
So
you can go to brianpluslindsey.com/fly photos.
Yes.
Fly-photos.
Yes. And
for that,
if you're wondering where we're at, we live in Kennesaw, Georgia. Yep. And we're about 30 minutes from Atlanta. But a lot of our clients, they travel about an hour away to
and you're worth it.
Yes. And also, Carolina, please put your information in there. Like put your
So where can people find you? I can even type it out or whatever.
Yeah, well, so people can find me on carolinaskorek.com, which is my main website. You can see the portraits I do there because I do commission. It's not just my art as well. It's I do commissions a lot. I've got a Facebook group where you can ask me anything, and it's going to happen soon where I'll be more active on it, but the live all keeps happening. But it's I think it's called Fine Art Photography with Carolina or something like this. I'll find the link.
Yep, finally put that in there. So.
Yeah, and just socials. If you type in Carolina Skorek into Facebook, Instagram, and stuff like that, you'll just find me.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
I wanna be in that group.
Yeah, you should.
Wow,
I don't.
Are you?
I am okay.
I think so.
So Facebook's done this funny thing where I just don't get notifications.
Yeah,
I just don't.
I know. Even with this kind of stuff, we're like, what the heck?
Like,
nobody sees it, but it's okay.
Hours or day later, I get notifications.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
I'll get notifications. Brian Cohen's live, and then I look and it was like 10 hours ago. I'm like,
yeah. I think it's because they've changed into Meta, and it's just
meta.
Yeah. It's so meta.
It's so meta. So emo.
It's all good. Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for spending time with us and just doing this. Like, we're excited about where we're all going. This is our favorite thing to do, is just have conversations with people.
What were you saying?
I was just thinking, how long did we take? Because I don't.
Almost an hour and a half. Yeah,
wow. Okay.
23 minutes.
But you know, I think
it's all good,
the structure of this is that I never want to be tied to any one thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we do live again, I love just open discussion, because I feel like I don't want to talk about numbers. I don't want to talk about lighting setups. I just want to talk about life.
Yeah.
You know.
And
life, creativity, things like that. That's I think that's what we breathe all the time. So that's what we should talk about. Because there's so many people talking about prices, selling.
That's it.
Let's talk about the fun things.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, selling and all that is fun if you like it. But if you want to be an artist in your free time, just be an artist.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a different energy, right? It's a really different energy when you're talking about technique and pricing, because it's like your brain kind of switches over into something else. It's like shifting gears.
Yep.
And I feel like in my brain, I want to go back to neutral.
Yeah, but you know what I found also? If you do what you love, and you don't care about the business, people start to resonate with it, and you still get the money.
That's it.
Yeah,
especially now, like with so many channels, you can reach global audience. I don't like that word, but I think that's the only one that I kind of comes to mind right now. But people will find you if you are true to yourself, and if you are honest.
That's
I know.
it.
I mean, so many of our, like, very few people that we're actually like good friends with, that we have a normal, like, everyday kind of conversation with and everything like that, are actually local. So it's all good. Like, that's just who we are. We have friends all over the world, and we talk to them all the time. You know, obviously, like, whatever, you know. So, but
well, awesome.
Thank you so much for doing this. And
thank you. It was so fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe we'll do it again. We'll see.
Awesome.
So,
thanks so much.
Okay, cool.
Bye.
Bye.